Oh! Hello and welcome to the world of Craig. Yes, that's me. I'm Craig and this is my channel, where we get into everything hair and sometimes a little bit of beauty. Now, he says, clutching at things on his lap. If you saw my video a couple of weeks ago, maybe you didn't, but if you did, you will know that I have become part of the Pravana collective for Europe. And I've been using the Express Tones, which are these, hello, now for the last 4 months, maybe a bit longer than that. And I have really fallen in love with them. It's such an amazing offering from Pravana. So seeing as I am part of the collective and I'm using these, let's get into the Express Tones from Pravana. So what are Express Tones? Well, I guess the massive clue is in the name. They are toners. And at this point, I'd just like to mention that I am part of the collective. Already talked about that. There is a video, a couple of videos back, I think on my channel, maybe 2 videos back that you can go and watch to explain exactly what it is, tells you exactly what that is. But I just want to mention at this point that this video isn't sponsored. I do have a contract with the brand that I'm incredibly proud to be part of, and it's extremely exciting. There's going to be loads of fun stuff coming, including in-person education. Yay! Oh my goodness, which I'm busy building at the moment. But this video is not sponsored. I'm bringing these to you because I've been using them in the salon and I've been really enjoying them. If you check out my Instagram, which is on the screen here, you can see loads and loads of stuff of me using these, lots of reels, obs, and also there's some videos on here that I will link down below where I've already used these. I might at some point pop up some videos on here as well when I'm talking about the specific tones. So, Express Tones. There are effectively 2 different families, if you like, of Express Tones. The first one are these, which are the blondes, and that's what I'm going to be talking about in this video. And then there is a range that's called After Dark of 3 colours. I shall pop those colours here on the screen so that you can have a look. They are specifically for root shadowing. I haven't got into those massively yet. I have swatched one of them. I'm swatching everything as I'm getting into the line, but I will perhaps do a video on those later on when I've used them more. Like I said, I can only bring you stuff that I've used and that I know if I like it, because I'm not going to talk about things that I don't like. So Express Tones, they're a highly pigmented toner, okay, obs, again, that work in between 5 to 15 minutes. They're an oxidative dye that is very rich in pigment, that is applied to damp hair, okay? And probably the biggest thing I could tell you about these, specifically when you're working on blondes, is that they are a progressive toner. So that means, what exactly does that mean? Well, that means that these all sit, and we'll talk about the shades in a second, these all sit at a level 7. So what is inside this tube? This is violet here, probably the one I use the most of. I don't know if you can pick that up. There we go. Probably. Focus. Violet is probably the one I use the most of, but these are all formulated to sit at a level 7, which I think is very clever. The longer they stay on the hair, the deeper they become, okay? The deeper in level they become because they are progressive. The great thing about these is that there is a clear, okay, of which I use a lot of when I'm working on lighter bases. My lightener has, throughout the length of this bleach out that I've had, has always been toned with this and this, with a mixture of violet and clear. So you basically dilute whatever it is that you've chosen with the clear, your formula with clear, and that basically bumps the levels up. So on my hair, I use 1 part violet and 5 parts clear, which basically takes it up to sort of like a 12. So it's really, really sheer, okay? The sheerer you want your formula to be and the lighter you want the result to be, the more clear you would add. So it's very, very simple, really, really straightforward. Super shiny, really easy to apply. It has a really gorgeous kind of cream gel texture. Really, really easy to apply. As I've said, it goes onto damp hair. So that means that you can work the product through very quickly. Let's have a look at the tones of the blonde Express Tones. So I've got 4 of the 6 shades here, and seeing as it's probably quite tricky for you to see them from where you are, where you're sat, I'm going to pop them on the screen here, but the four I've got are violet, clear, smoky silver and pearl, and then there's an ash and a beige. They're all beautiful. I have used these ones mainly. I have used, sorry, the pearl, the violet, the clear and the beige mainly. I have swatched the others out, the other two out, the ash and the smoky silver. I was creating some content with the smoky silver, which you will see on my Instagram at some point. I'm trying to get ahead with content as much as I can because I've got a super busy period coming up. Oh, just to mention as well, if you enjoy this and find it helpful, please give it a like and make sure you subscribe and hit the bell so that you see everything that's coming. And if you've used any of the Pravana line or the Express Tones before, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. And I have a strict policy. If you comment or message me on Instagram, I will always reply. Always. Why not? It's only fair. It's rude not to reply if someone messages you, as far as I'm concerned. So I'm going to pop a video on the screen here, of a recent formula. Now, this is a client that I've been doing their hair for over 20 years. They've been a global bleach out for about the 20 years, I think now. Probably done their hair for longer, like 25 years maybe even longer. And for a long time, I have used a gloss product. Yeah, you know the one, on their hair. And I've been swatching these out. I have used them on my own hair, on my own bleach out, and I said to her, come on, let's switch you over. Now, she likes a very specific kind of result. And this result is this mix, but she likes a very zingy, bright result, as you can see. And we've been using the same thing for a long time, tweaking it, using slightly different shades, but it had always been that particular line, apart from when she was pink or pastel peach or any of those other colours. So I switched it over to the Express Tones, and that formula is a mix of 4 parts clear, 1 part violet and half a part pearl. I applied to towel dried hair that's had some K18 leave-in mask put on it, and I wait for the 4 minutes, obviously, comb it through, wait 4 minutes, and then I go in with the Express Tone. The reason that result is so beautiful, so translucent and zingy, obviously it goes on to a level 10 pre-lighting base, which is great. There's no pre-toning that goes on. That's all from this product. I don't pre-tone her hair first because it does lift up very well. She's very, very blonde and she's very blue-eyed, but the result is gorgeous and it has a real translucency. I have found with the Express Tones that they also make the hair feel very soft when you take them off. That gives the hair like a really beautiful silkiness, and of course they're super shiny. Further to that, which is I find really interesting, because these are oxidative, the way that they deposit colour, the feedback that I've had from clients, specifically that particular client and on my own bleach out, is that they last quite a long time. They last longer than what I was using previously. And I don't know about you, I'm sure it's the same, that when you're toning hair in salon on clients, or wherever you're doing your clients, you might work from home or you might go to people's homes. When you're toning people's hair, really that's what we want. We want it to last. But when you're doing anything that is removing yellow, or when you're going for a cooler result, you generally tend to find that can be the first thing that leaves the hair. Just to mention again, I've already talked about the clear. If you have clients like me that have global bleach outs and they like very zingy results and they like the results to be very translucent, then clear is your best friend. This is actually what I have the most of in my stock cupboard, in my dispensary. As we know, as hair peeps, if you're toning a global lightener or a set of highlights or a balayage that's quite light and the client wants a zingy result, if you make that result too cool, so if it has too much ash, violet, silver, pearl, beige, too much of a cool tone, then it's going to absorb the light and it's going to make it look much darker. So that's why clear is your best friend when you're working on any blondes, really. What I have done on some highlight results, I'll put one up here now, the gorgeous Molly, is I have zone toned using these. So on Molly's hair was a mixture of clear and pearl. And on the root, I used 1 part clear, 1 part pearl. And then the mid-lengths, I used 2 parts clear, 2 parts clear, 3 parts pearl, and on the ends I just mix a little bit more clear in with the remaining formula and just pulled that through for the last couple of minutes. So these are great for zone toning, where you're breaking, not breaking, that's a bad choice of word, where you're splitting your application up into different formulas to give you like really super dimensional results. So you can probably tell from how excited I am. I almost wish the line was bigger, if I'm honest. I think there used to be, loves clutching tubes of colour. There used to be more within this series, but there were some that weren't so popular. But it is just such a wonderful formulation. Very simple to use because there are the 6 shades. But as I said, all intermixable, and you can get some really stunning results. So what do you mix the Express Tones with? Forever the joker. Well, you mix the Express Tones with Zero Lift Developer. Now this is 1.3%, okay? And I will stipulate here, I've talked about this before, there's a video here on my channel as well, in that it is important that you mix the Express Tones with the appropriate developer. I don't know if you can hear this. Yeah, you can hear liquid swilling around in a bottle. This has quite a thick gel consistency. It's got a really lovely, just a really, really lovely consistency, but it is slightly thicker. Obviously, those Express Tones, those that are over there on my kitchen countertop, they're an oxidative demi-permanent colour, okay? They don't contain direct dye, they are an oxidative colour, and they're mixed with a very specific developer. If you mix them with a developer that is made for something that contains both oxidative and direct dye, you might get a different result. And that wouldn't be good. I can't share information with you and share formulas and how-tos and things like that unless you're going to mix things with the appropriate developer. I know there's a lot of urban myths, I talk about it a lot in our industry, and that you can do this with that and you can use that instead of that. Well, I would never advocate that. And it's not because I'm getting a backhander from the company to tell you this. It's because the chemists that formulate these products are so clever, some of whom I've met over the years, and they really are really, really brilliant. Shout out to the hair care chemists, to the colour house chemists. So Zero Lift Developer is what you mix with the product. Just to mention as well, I forgot to mention, it is ammonia free. So it's a demi-permanent colour that's ammonia free, that's an oxidative dye that takes in 5 to 15 minutes on damp hair, is long lasting, makes the hair feel very silky, very shiny. Interestingly, hold on, don't go anywhere. He says, picking his swatch book up off the floor. Interestingly, when I make, so these swatches here, I don't know if you can, hopefully you can pick those up. These are all Express Tones. I'm busy building a swatch book of all the Pravana colours. They're Express Tones too. Interestingly, and this is extra, but I'm going to share it anyway. When I make my swatches, because the swatches are processed hair, they often need conditioning. I have to use a conditioner. When I rinse off the Express Tones, I don't condition them. Interesting, because it'll make the hair feel very, very soft. So just, whilst I've got my swatch book of plenty out, let me just share with you, and hopefully that you can pick these up. So here we've got Express Tone, okay, so that's the Express Tone Violet on its own. I hope you can see these. Express Tone Violet on its own. And then here it is, mixed 1 to 4 with clear. So that's 1 part Express Tone Violet and 4 parts clear. Okay, so, really, really beautiful, very true to tone. That's, there's no denying that is definitely a violet. And then there's the very, very sheared out version with lots of clear. Beautiful. I almost forgot how to mix the product, and this is kind of major as well, so it's important to include this in the video. As with all of the Pravana lines that you mix with a developer, okay, be it Zero Lift or a peroxide, one of their other developers, you mix them 1 to 1.5. Why is that cool? So that's 1 part of whatever colour it is you're using. In this case, it's Express Tones, and then with the developer, and in this case, it's Zero Lift Developer. Now, why is that really cool? Well, it's very economical. I don't know why, I say economical, which is perhaps the American way, but economical. I digress. And that basically means that what you've got in your tube, in your 90mm tube, goes a lot further. Obviously it's calibrated, that the developer, and when you mix it with the Express Tones, you get a really beautiful, like I've talked about, that silky, creamy consistency that works through the hair very easily. But at a 1 to 1.5 ratio, it does make it really cost effective and great value for money. So that's it for my overview of the Blonde Express Tones. I'm sure it comes across. I mean, I can feel it myself. I can feel it myself. Super exciting to share that with you. Super exciting to use them in the salon. I've got some really fun house models coming up for some content where I'll be utilizing them as pre-toners and some more zone toning or some highlighting, etc., etc. If you've come to the end and you've enjoyed this, thank you very much if you've got to the end, and you would like to watch some tutorials, some how-tos and some step-by-step processes that feature the Express Tones, or that feature things like global lightning or foil placement or some really fun direct dye placement, then have a scroll through my main page, through all of my videos, through my main page, what am I talking about? Through my videos on here, because there's tons of free education. Once again, thank you very much for watching. You all take lots of care, and I'll see you in the next one.